What's going on, guys? It is Aiden Hutchinson.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
What's up, everybody? It's Calvin Johnson Jr. here, a.k.a. Megatron, a.k.a. First Ballot.
What's going on, Coach Dan at Lions Talk Live and the Duke Crew? This is Ball Hawk Fatima Lafonum of the Detroit Lions. Everybody make sure you help support the YouTube channel Lions Talk Live by clicking that like and subscribe button. Let's get it and go Detroit.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live and Coach Dan by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody, woo!
Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I am your host once again, Dan Thornton. And I want to thank you all for joining us here today. Hey, it's Lions Talk Live. It's Thursday. We're just days away from the biggest showdown in Motown that's ever about to go down in a long, long time. Regular season finale, week 18. We all get it. Everybody's going to be there. Everybody's flying in for this game. Everybody, media-wise, is going to be out there predicting the game, talking about the game, analyzing during the game, after the game, before the game, the whole shebang bang. So we're going to break down a few different things going to impact this game. And yes, as you can tell from the thumbnail today, some questions have been raised, although I don't believe any of them are going to be groundbreakingly game-changing. There are a couple guys that did pop up on the injury report yesterday that, hey, we're going to pay attention to them. We'll dive into that during the main topic of the day. Before we get into the 5 headlines now, before we get into the main topic of the day and anything in between, if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. Making that push for 12,500 subs, and we're 20 away. So if you can help out with that, that would be great. Also, if you got a half second of time, it is free of charge. Reach on down, hit that thumbs up button, hit the like button, hit all the buttons, hit the button for the button. Go ahead and do all that. We try to get every video between 200, 300, 400 thumbs up or likes or more. So if you can help out, that would be most welcome. Last but never least, if you are considering buying or selling property anywhere in the great state of Michigan or the continental United States, give me a call or shoot me a text. You see the number on the screen, 269-998-2384. Let's have a quick conversation, see what we can do to work out your situation, whether you're buying a new home, a second home, looking to sell your home, commercial property, whatever it may be. Go ahead and give me a call or shoot me a text. See the number. We can have a quick conversation, save you some hassles, the whole shebang and bang. If you're outside of Michigan, I can still work with you. Just got to do some things a little bit differently. All right, with all that jibber jabber out of the way, let's go ahead and get this show rolling and going and getting into 5 headlines now. You know, 5 headlines now. One thing I'd like to point out real quick before we get into them. Every week that goes by, the Detroit Lions are 1 week closer getting back more and more players, at least in my opinion. We all know that, hey, Alex Anzalone is more than likely going to be back this week, and I think the Lions gave you a kind of maybe a little tip towards it and a wink by releasing Jamal Adams yesterday. Adams really hadn't done much with Detroit. He was released. You know, he was basically playing linebacker / safety for us, so you have to start wondering, if you're letting him go, who are you bringing in to replace him? My anticipation is going to be Alex Anzalone does play, although on a limited pitch count, snap count, whatever you want to say, this upcoming game. So that would be nice to have him back. And like I said, every week that goes by, you're 1 week closer to getting somebody else back. I do believe probably sooner versus later, we're going to get an update on David Montgomery, getting him to return to the team. I wouldn't be surprised, to be very, very honest, if Carlton Davis, if we do get the first round bye, I won't be surprised if he plays, but as a backup, not as a starter. So my guess is I'm trying to do the math in my head, so don't hold me to it. But my guess he's about 4 weeks into his recovery from having the jaw fused. I don't know his situation fully, how he's recovering. But I'm guessing at that point he probably could be back. And again, on a pitch count, snap count off the bench, which would probably aid the Lions secondary as from a depth standpoint. So we'll want to pay attention to that, and I'm not going to get into anybody else, so we'll have to wait and see. All right, 5 glorious headlines now, even though I kind of rambled on a little bit there. All right, Nick Bosa gushes about Detroit Lions, sparking 49ers trade rumors. Story by Andrew Butler Russ of Sportsnot. We did kind of talk about this a couple days ago when it first happened, and then you had Max Crosby the week before. So there are already starting to be rumors for the offseason for the Detroit Lions. Could this person come here? Could that person come here? Who knows what they're going to do? I would say this. I do agree. Nick Bosa was incredibly complimentary about the Detroit Lions. I'm guessing the 49ers do have a few guys looking around saying, hey, I've had a great run here. It's probably going to be a moment in time where they could potentially start selling out some parts, saying, hey, the future is now with different players. It could also be someone like Nick Bosa, who probably has a couple seasons left in him, playing at a high level, I should say. He might want to look at a different situation because the 49ers probably are going to be more sellers than buyers with some of these guys. What they're going to do, I don't know. I'm not worried about that in the offseason. I do think that Nick Bosa could be looking to go somewhere else after this season. Could it be for Detroit? We'll wait and see. All right, Detroit Lions coaching and general manager tracker update news, rumors on where Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, and more could wind up. Story by Mike Payton of A to Z Sports. I won't go fully into this one, but if you guys have some free time today, tomorrow, whatever, over the weekend, it's not a bad idea to check this one out. Keep an open mind. This is all speculation. There's nothing for certain who's going where, obviously, at this point. But it does bring up a lot of it's actually one of the better written stories I think I've come across in a while. Head coaching openings, we get it. Both of those, our offensive coordinator, defense coordinator, are going to be in play, mentioned with a number of different opportunities. I also think there's some of the positional coaches that could potentially be departing Detroit. Why? Because other teams are going to want to hire them. They're going to want what Detroit has. And I think some of them could trickle down to the college level as well. So let's face it, anytime you're successful in business, coaching, sports, any avenue you want to mention, a lot of people could come after you. I think last year as an example, and to be fair, the year before, you saw teams across the NFL pick apart our scouting department, front office department. Most of those guys, you and I, the vast majority of Lions fans have never even heard of. But you know what? Those guys were integral parts of rebuilding this franchise. And yes, you're going to see the Lions picked apart even more this year. So other people are having to step on up. As far as some of our front office people, I do think Ray Agnew is going to be in play for a couple of jobs. If you guys don't know offhand, he is the assistant general manager for the Detroit Lions. Tanner Engelstrand, passing coordinator for Detroit. If Ben Johnson was to depart Detroit, it would be my assumption he would be the front runner to be the new OC. I don't know that for sure, but if he's not here, he will be on somebody else's play list to go somewhere else. Offensive coordinator, quality coordinator, Mike Disner will also be someone I would list as being out there as far as interest in from other teams. Fraley, I think, is going to be a person of interest to multiple different teams, both professionally and collegiately. So we're going to want to pay attention. This is going to be a big thing regarding the Detroit Lions and our future once the offseason hits. But I don't think at this point we're going to get any leaks. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody leaks out some information as we get close to the Super Bowl. But pay attention for sure. All right, Detroit Lions the Lions offense is best defensive weapon to use against the Minnesota Vikings. Jeff Risdon with this one of USA Today. Jeff Risdon, a fan of the show, a friend of the show. I think he's spot on with this. And this is something we've talked about before with other games. The best thing the Detroit Lions offense can do is twofold. One, control the clock. Two, put points on the board. You do that, you do take some stress off of the defense. If the offense isn't clicking, if the offense isn't scoring, now you exacerbate what is already not a sound issue on the defensive side of the ball. We all get it. I'm not going to go through the injury front. You guys all know about it. Everybody who's Lions fan and probably anybody in the NFL knows about it. But there is enough talent there. We all get it. Kirby Joseph's potentially a defensive player of the year. Let that sink in. He might be the defensive player of the year. I will also say this. If Aiden Hutchinson hadn't been hurt, I think he would have been defensive player of the year, the mammoth run he was on. With all that being said, the defense has got to play differently because of the lack of players out there. What they're doing out there is doing enough to get us some wins here and there, some victories. But we also know a lot of that is because the offense is helping them out by putting points on the board. And I think you're seeing an already aggressive Dan Campbell be even more aggressive on fourth down because he understands field goals more than likely aren't going to win most games for him. Maybe one or two here and there, but they're going to roll the dice and go for those touchdowns. So yes, get the Lions offense to be one of the defense's best friends out there by putting points on the board and controlling that clock. All right, 2025 Detroit Lions New Year's resolutions. Story by Christian Boer of SI.com. And there's a few of them here. Let's walk through them. I think he does a great job listing all these out. We all get this has been a phenomenal season, a historic season for the Detroit Lions, for the franchise. the best season they've ever had by far, at least as far as the regular season. So I'm never going to take anything away from those teams that won all the NFL championships or the Super Bowls before they were called Super Bowls. So let's not put them over that part. But as far as regular season wins, yes, this is team number one. Finish the job is his number one listing, and I think we'd all agree. You've had a phenomenal season, a historic season. Now what do you got to do? You got to go out there and win the Super Bowl. You got to get there, 1, 2, you got to win it, and that would make this, obviously the greatest season ever for the franchise. Find Aiden Hutchinson's counterpart. So the rest of this year, this is what he's listing. Hey, Zadarius Smith, who's been under contract, who will be under contract for another season. He's been good. He hasn't been great, and I think we could all say this. He could be a great part of this team going forward. But if you could find someone who even upgrades the position more than that and adds some more depth at least next year, that might not be a bad situation. Whether it's Nick Bosa, I don't know, Crosby, or somebody drafted or whatever it may be, we'll wait and see. Josh Pascal has not been bad, but he hasn't been obviously that game changer they're looking for opposite Aiden Hutchinson. All right, next on the things to do list for the new year, extend the core members of the 2022 draft class. I agree with this. You've got a lot of guys in that draft class, and to be fair, some other draft classes that are probably coming up for conversations about new contracts or extensions, whatever you want to say. I would agree. You got some guys out there you want to lock up and not let them get out of here. One of them is going to be Kirby Joseph, who, again, could be actually in the running for Defensive Player of the Year. Let that sink in. Let's see. Navigate coaching carousel efficiently. We just talked about guys that may be leaving. And yes, not just the coaching staff, but the front office. There's a lot of different layers to what makes a team work. It's not just always the people you see in front of the cameras. I would say the Lions have done a pretty good job so far as last year and the year before navigating this, but I think it's going to be exacerbated even more this year. The Lions have been so successful now for arguably 3 to 4 years. You're going to have more and more hungry teams, hungry for change, hungry for wins, hungry for points on the board coming after this team. And yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of guys get offered big contracts to depart Detroit. So if somebody's leaving, you got to have somebody else coming in. I already mentioned Tanner earlier. I think he's going to be number one on a lot of teams' lists. If they can't get Ben Johnson, I'm guessing he's a big person of interest, not just to the Detroit Lions, but to many other teams. He's probably somebody maybe I need to do a video on at some point about it. Sustained success. We've already been talking about it on this show. We've been talking about it for over a year now. The Lions think about it since Dan Campbell came in. Take away the first year. We get it. That was a complete teardown rebuild of the franchise. Since that year, if you just started watching the NFL that year when MCDC and the rest of the gang were brought in, what do you know about the Detroit Lions? They're successful. They're one of the best teams in the NFL, maybe in pro sports in North America or whatever. Maybe you could say across the planet. So let that sink in. If that's your base and that's where you began watching the NFL, this is all you know about them. So can you continually sustain that success? Can we become like the New England Patriots, Kansas City Chiefs? Obviously not the Patriots the last 2 years or so, but you guys get the gist. Can you become one of those franchises that year in and year out, everybody expects to be in running for the playoffs, contending for the Super Bowl? You've obviously got that this year. Can you do that next year and the year after that? Well, that's about the sustaining that success. All right, so moving on to the next one. And, hey, the last of the 5 headlines now. You're going to be like, what the heck's up with this one? Minnesota Vikings at Detroit Lions predictions, odds, bets, player names, injuries, and stats for Week 18. Brad Thomas, NBC Sports. I'm only bringing this up for one reason. It's not for the score predictions. It's not for, the betting lines or whatever. I'm going to say this, and I hate saying this about somebody who's a journalist because, you know what, most of you guys know I started working in the newspaper business back in the late 1980s. Worked in newspapers and TV shows or, news media or whatever in the 90s and 2000s. And I got a problem with somebody being a lazy reporter. Now, I don't like calling somebody out, but, if you're going to work for NBC, if you're going to cover this game especially, this is probably the biggest regular season game in the NFL in quite some time. I'd say at least 3 or 4 years where you got two teams that are both 14 wins. I get the historical significance of that because it's never happened before. But you go down through his list, excuse me, some of the stuff's spot on, but I'd say half of the stuff a third grader put together. And, Lions injury news. I'll start with this. Jalen Reeves-Maben is out for this game. He's on the IR, according to the reporter. Alex Anzalone's on the IR, and this was written late last night, so Alex Anzalone had already been in practice. Carlton Davis, okay, he's on the IR. Khalif Raymond, he's not on the IR. He's on the 21-day window. So I'm going onto this because I've got a problem when somebody just copies and pastes story stuff together. I don't know if this guy normally covers the Minnesota Vikings and doesn't pay attention to the Detroit Lions, but while I point out those three things, there are a number of things in this story that I'm like, man, does this guy even pay attention to the Detroit Lions? And everybody has a bad day. I get it. I've had them myself, but this game is too big. And the fact that it's correlated with Pro Football Focus lets me know that nobody at NBC Sports nor Pro Football Focus even checked out the story before they published it. And nobody's edited it apparently since 11:54 a.m. Yesterday. So, or excuse me, p.m. 11:54 p.m. So late last night. So most of this information is not up to date and obviously wasn't really checked on. So no disrespect to the guy, but hopefully somebody catches this and edits the story a little bit because not a good look going into one of the biggest games in NFL history for the regular season. All right, with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get over to the main topic of the day. If I can roll down fast enough and hit this. All right, main topic of the day. If you guys saw yesterday's injury report, you know that, Meek Robinson, he was held out yesterday along with Captain Jack Campbell. Both guys, I know I mentioned this earlier in the show, but both guys, I'm anticipating neither one of these injuries are major in any regards. Hopefully it's a veterans rest day. But considering the game that we're about to play and the injury situation we've had this season, it does raise some questions. If both guys were to be limited or out this weekend, who would fill in for them? I know when it comes to Robertson, most are going to say probably Emmanuel Mosley. But to be fair, have we even seen Emmanuel Mosley throughout this return this season? He's been back for 3 or 4 games now, and other than special teams, I don't think we've seen him at all. So who would fill in for him if Robertson was not able to go? My guess is Kendall Vildor, and I already know. I don't even have to check the comment section. I'm guessing the vast majority of you do not want that out there. Captain Jack, I'm not sure who would fill in. To be fair, Ben Neiman maybe, Trevor Nowaski possibly, Jalen Reeves-Maybin could be, although I don't think he's more of the Mike. I think he's more one of the Sams or whatever filling in on those particular situations. And again, in fairness to Jalen Reeves-Maybin, it would only be a second game back. Well, I'm sure he'd be shaking off more and more rust. It'd be a heck of a workload for him in that situation. So what do you do if you're MCDC in this situation? Hopefully both guys are going to go just a veterans rest day. And I want to be very clear about that. I do not know if they're going to be out today or not. Now, on a positive note, and I know I mentioned it earlier in the show, Jamal Adams was released. So that would be a strong indication to me that the Lions are probably moving closer towards saying, hey, Alex Anzalone is going to be elevated, whatever you want to say, for Sunday's game. And my guess is they probably won't actually announce that until Sunday itself. Probably somewhere, I don't know, in the afternoon. Maybe they do it around noon. But since we play the late game, my guess would be a little bit later in the day. Alex Anzalone, if he goes in, I think it's going to be no different than what we saw at Jalen Reeves-Maybin. You're going to probably get a limited snap count from him. You're probably going to see some rust, and he's probably going to get ate up a little bit by players who have been playing these last 5-6 weeks that he's been out. It's unavoidable, no different with Ife Melifonwu when he first came back. Although you watch the film from last week's game, I think his reactionary times, Ife's reactionary times, are noticeably better than they were week 1. And why is that? He's shaking off rust. My anticipation is when we leave this game Sunday, Ife Melifonwu is going to be as close to playing in regular season form as he can be. So that'll be a big boon going into the playoffs for us. In regards to Jalen Reeves-Maybin, is he going to be fully back? No, but he should be, I'd say, like 90% back to playing as he would before the injury. Alex Anzalone, if he gets out there, it's going to help. He's going to be better come the postseason, but he's not going to be probably the Alex Anzalone we all remember. He'll be closer, but he's going to be shaking off rust and timing issues for sure. So if Jack Campbell can't go, who do you have filling there? Let me know in the comment section. Meek Robertson, if he can't go, that would be probably the bigger question for me. We talked about it a little bit yesterday on the different shows they put out, maybe even the day before. To me, yes, I do think the Lions were playing possum against the the 49ers as far as some of their defensive coverages, looks, things they were putting out there. But one thing I would say is for 2 or 3, 4 weeks now, whatever it's been, I do think the Lions are trying to funnel everything towards their strength. Their strength is their secondary. Carlton Davis going out. Thankfully, Meek Robinson has filled in. I mean, chef's kiss. This dude's been great filling in. But if Robertson was not able to go and now another guy has to go over there, I get if it's Vildor, everybody's going to say, man, take him out, put in somebody else. But who else is there to put in if Meek can't go? That's going to be the big burning question. Just because you pull somebody out doesn't mean the next guy is any better. Jack Campbell, I think the guy's been playing great. I know, hey, some of you guys last year called him a bust and everything. And right, wrong, or different is what it is. He was a rookie linebacker. I actually didn't think he played that poorly. This year, quite opposite. I don't think he's elite, but I think he's playing pretty dang well. So that would be a loss for him. Although his injury is bruised ribs, I guess it comes down to how bruised those ribs really are. As long as it's not impacting his breathing, my anticipation is he's playing. Robertson's one that I would have more questions about if it was me, and not without take it with a grain of salt because I don't know the full extent of both injuries. But for a cornerback, you've got to get up and get around, especially as much man-to-man coverage as the Lions play. He's got a calf strain or issue that is going to impact his ability to get around. He's going to have to keep up with some of the best receivers out there because the Minnesota Vikings have 2 stud wide receivers plus a stud tight end that we all know at TJ Hockenson. So you're going to have to be mobile. You can't be hampered in any way. If that hamstring ain't right, or the calf muscle, then yeah, he's probably not playing. So we'll have to wait and see. How would you guys handle a loss from one of them or both of them? Who would you have fill in for either one of them if the world were to fall apart and both guys couldn't play? Alex Anzalone, if he is elevated, which I'm anticipating he will be, what do you do with his snap count? Do you give him 10 snaps, 15 snaps, 50% of the snaps on defense? What do you expose him to, and how do you protect him in his first game back? These are all questions coaching staffs have to answer between now and Sunday, and they're going to have to Scooby-Doo if they feel with every passing day somebody can go or can't go. How do you make those adjustments? Next man up, I get it. But you know what? Hey, we got to figure out who the next man's going to be. All right, Dude Crew, you've heard me ramble on about this probably a little bit longer than you wanted to, so let's go ahead and get over to the main comments, see what you guys have to say. And if you guys have some other thoughts on different topics, by all means, throw them in the comment section, and we'll get to them. We've got, 38 minutes, so here we go. Okay, good morning, Dude Crew. Oh, yeah, and back at you, my friend. Bo, good morning, Dude Crew. No tiptoe for us! Exclamation point. I see Subo. Woo! And yeah, back at you. I like it. Shamir, greetings, salutations, Duke Crew, and back at you. Jess, greetings, salutations, Duke Gang. I think both guys were just out for rest. Yeah, I'm hoping that's the case. Hopefully nothing too serious. Yeah, agreed. And again, not to reiterate, but if there'd be one I'd be more questionable about, it would be a Meek Robinson just because of the calf. And again, because you rely solely on that almost to be able to motor around and be mobile, being limited in any way is going to be a real hindrance for a cornerback. All right, Lauren, good morning, Coach and crew. Same to you. Back to work for me. Yeah, me too. After this, I've got to start getting ready. I get to hit the gym real quick. Then I've got to go out. I have a closing today for a property, and then I got practice, and then I have to go show some houses, and then whatever I have to do after that. So be a full day. Jameer, did you see Fred Warner hype video? And do you think they were trying to intentionally hurt the Lions? I've heard some people talk about it. Do I think intentionally Fred Warner or the 49ers were out there trying to, break somebody's leg or something like that? I don't. Do I think they went in there trying to be overly physical? Yeah, a couple of them. But it's football. When I watched the game live, I didn't, there was a couple shots on, what's his name? Sam Laporta's head. And there were other ones for sure that I thought, man, I'm surprised that wasn't flagged. Officials do miss plays. We all get it, especially as Lions fans. But I think Laporta got hit in the head like twice, maybe 3 times. And I thought, man, missing 1, that's not good for an official. Missing 3 on a guy, that's really not good. So I'm sure those officials, got hit with their pool reports. I'm sure they got something from their head assigner regarding it. But I'd like to at least believe, maybe a week from now, I'll find out there's a bounty gate or something going on. But I'd like to believe no NFL team, no professional athlete tries to intentionally hurt another one. Now, with that being said, you do have people bite people's ears off from time to time. But I hope, at least for me, I hope the 49ers weren't trying to do that. Trey, what's going on? All question mark. Jamal Adams was cut yesterday. I think that shows we are bringing Alex back this week. Thoughts? Yeah, I would agree. If you're letting him go, you've got to have somebody, whether it's Anzalone or whoever, that you're thinking about elevating into that roster spot, especially with this game and the significance there is. Ever since Alex Anzalone got hurt, my anticipation was he would be back week 17 or 18. And just for selfish coaching reasons, I want to get him out on the field to help shake off rust before the playoffs. I think it's going to be a big win for Ife Melifano to have his third game in, and I've already gone over that, so I won't go a ton, but yeah, I agree. Lauren, episode 3 of the Michigan Panther Pride at 9 a.m. We'll all have to check it out. Mike the Marine Gunny, howdy, Dan Iduku. May I get a triple woo? You want a triple woo? I'll give you a shot of triple woo on a 1, 2, and a 3. And there you go. Detroit, Matt, good morning. Duke Crew, just want to say a prayer for Alex Anzalone that he plays Sunday. Amen. Yeah, I think he's going to. If he's out there and he's not limited, like he's a full go today, and then Friday will probably be the big day for him, then I'd say, yeah, if you're a betting person, I'd be betting 2 Mountain Dews, not 1. Let's see, Tori, anyone know if the Vikings are dealing with injuries? Question mark, I haven't checked. I know they've got a couple of guys that are a little beat up, especially at the running back position. During tomorrow's episode, Fridays, usually where I kind of do more of that stuff. We'll do a checkup on it. Wayne, good morning. It is what it is. Not being easy makes it sweeter. Go Lions. Woo! Oh, yeah. I'll go with that. And Wayne, you're not wrong. The nation across the NFL, fan base, whatever, everybody gets Lions injury situation. But the fact that they are 14-2 and about to go 15-2 with the win Sunday, you're right. That just makes it that much more impressive for what the coaches, the players, the organization has achieved. Lauren, if Alex does come back this weekend, I think he'll be a rotational player, only play. Yeah, 40 to 50% of the snaps. If that, yeah, I think you're spot on. And, go ahead and throw out your thoughts. I know I've thrown mine out. I would like to see him out there maybe 10 and 15 snaps. But more than that, I don't want to overly expose him. But if he's way ahead of the curve, the nice thing with the broken arm is that he was still able to do a lot of conditioning, especially the last month, once that thing really kind of started firming up. So conditioning, I'm suspecting he'll have a lot of good stuff cardio-wise. It's just going to come down to reactions. That does take, the only way to get the reactionary time back is to get on the field and do stuff or in a game. Mike the Marine Gunny, remember last year, Lions Talk Live from your car before basketball practice? Woo! Yeah, for those who don't know, I started the channel. It was the Seahawks game. Was it maybe Campbell's first year, second year, something like that? Anyways, it was at Ford Field. We just lost, and Jen and I were with some friends. There was like a bus that took us back to Kalamazoo, and somebody was like, "Man, you used to be a reporter. You should do a video." So I did a video on the bus ride back, and you know what? I don't even remember what it got, like 60 views or something like that. I was like, all right, I'll do another one. But yes, there was a time where that's all I would do is like I'd go to the Circle K in the morning or the Shell station for a morning Mountain Dew. I'd do a quick 5-minute video right before I go in to get it. And then, yeah, there were times like last year where there would be some sort of breaking news. I'm either going right into basketball practice or right after basketball practice. I would do a quick video from the car. So old school thoughts. Let's see, Rob, greetings, salutations, Coach Dan and Duke Crew. The Lions are the grooviest, Adio. I concur. Stephanie, good morning, boys. Exclamation point. I hope we just ease AA back into things like they were with Jalen Reeves-Maben. This will be a great game for us. 100%, man. Yeah, don't put too much on the players' plate. You don't want them to get overly exposed from a mental standpoint, not just a physical standpoint. So, yeah, I'm with you there. And you would know that just as well as anybody. Phil, good morning. Back at you, Phil. All good to see you as always. Mike the Marine Gunny, what is your New Year's resolution? Super Bowl? I'd say so. That sounds like a great one to me, Mike. Jessica, Happy New Year all. So what can we do to slow down Minnesota, coach? I know we talked about it a little bit earlier. I would say is slow them down by your offense scoring points and controlling the clock. It's not uncommon for this Lions offense to go on 8 to 15 play drives that chews up a lot of clock and results in scores. I also think that if you can put pressure on Minnesota's offense, and we've gone over it a lot this week, we'll go over it more tomorrow, and I'm sure Saturday and Sunday before the game. that crowd noise, I would be banking some things into it. And I know some fans are selling their tickets. I'm not here to say that's right, wrong, or different. Hey, you got to worry about your situation, your family. But I would also say force the Minnesota Vikings to consistently, every snap, have to make calls, line adjustments during all that noise, because eventually somebody's going to make a mistake. You go back and use like the 49ers game as an example last weekend. I think Brock Purdy played a heck of a game, but with that consistent blitzing, man-to-man coverage, and every once in a while, sneakily switching up your coverage into, zone coverage, especially the 3 deep high with Kirby Joseph allowed to roam around and be a bandit. That's where I think that you're playing this Detroit Lions defense this weekend and probably in the playoffs. That's probably more and more where they're going. Why? Because they know they can't stop you all the time, but can they bait you into 1, 2, or 3 opportunities for them to get a turnover? And that's why I think the Lions are going to have to do. Sam Darnold, you're only asking, I shouldn't say asking, but you're trying to force him into a couple plays a game where he throws a pass that, is a little high, a little backwards, a little off target. Now somebody can take advantage of, sort of like we did with Brock Purdy. I think that's the type of defense we're going to have to play. It's going to be a gambling defense that when you gamble right and that thing comes up all snake eyes, then you know what? You get the pick six maybe. Flathead Frank, has Jared Goff reached the ceiling? Question mark. Nope. Exclamation point. He said he is working to get better and faster. He said he's trying to convert one first down a game with his legs. Yeah, you can see. I think you're spot on, Flathead Frank. You can see this year he is more mobile. He is extending plays. Whether or not he's running for yards, that's different. But he's extending plays, going out to the sidelines, and throwing on the run. That's something he didn't really do very well prior to this year. And yes, we are seeing him scramble for some yards. Lions Talk Live fan would like to see D-Money back. I think he will in the playoffs. Now, when in the playoffs, we'll have to wait and see. I would like to see D-Mo back. Yep, me too. Eric, good morning. Dooku, same to you. Lauren, Lions Talk Live fan, only if he's healthy. Correct. Big Eddie, greetings and salutations. I'm thinking Jack and Amik got the day off just as vets rest day. Hopefully there isn't more than that, but I understand why we would be nervous about it. Yeah. With what we've endured on the defensive side this year, I get why a lot of people would be, wondering about it. Lauren, I don't want to push it when he's not ready and more injury prone. There you go. Detroit D, greetings and salutations to everyone. Same to you, my friend. Good to see you as always. Lion Talk Live fan, of course. Susan, good morning. Hit that like and subscribe buttons. Yeah, if you guys can, hit all the buttons. You guys all know they help out a lot. We need, whatever it is, 20 some odd subs to get to 12,500. Rob, even if I miss a broadcast, I hit that button for Coach Dan, the man with the plan. Hey, thank you very much for that, my friend. Thank you very much. David Robinson has been filling in great for CD3. Hope he's good. I hope so too, because again, I think that would be the tougher loss since the defense understands its limitations at this point, and they're trying to funnel everything into those strengths. And yeah, I would say this. I think we would all agree, maybe not, but I would think we all would. Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph, Jack Campbell, and I'm going to include him in that secondary just because he is dropping more and more into coverage, along with Terrion Arnold, who I think has clearly become better and better. I get he's not all pro, Hall of Famer at this point, but it's also his rookie year. And then if Meek Robinson's healthy, that's a pretty dang good secondary, especially if Carlton Davis can return at some point, and if nothing else, be a depth part, rotational part for us. If he Melifano every game back, you know what? He's getting better too. Quentin, greetings and salutations, y'all. Goff is an MVP guy who, why people don't talk about him more, I don't know. He is playing at that level. I just think the problem for him is he's not as flashy as some of the other guys. And no disrespect to Allen or Jackson or some of the other front runners, they also have put up some pretty massive numbers as well. So I think that's also part of it. Tyler, just want to say I was right about moving Amik outside and Branch to the nickel. Yes, you were, my friend. Benjamin from Arkansas, we're wishing the Lions success and stop with the injuries already. We can't put up 40 every night, or can we? I guess that's a good question. We may need to put up 35, 40 or more in the playoffs. We'll see. So, are we getting anyone else back besides Alex Anzalone? Not that I'm aware of. I mean, I get we are all hopeful that Aiden Hutchinson may return, but even if he does return, I still think he's, whatever it is mathematically wise, 3-4 weeks away from that happening, which, in that amount of time, he could be ready to go. We'll see. Tyler, Is it true Kirby didn't make the Pro Bowl because players and coaches don't like him because he's a complete dog and balls out like Ed Reed? Man, that I don't know. But if he gets Defensive Player of the Year, that's going to probably raise a lot of questions how your Defensive Player of the Year, or even if he's just one of the top, 2 or 3 in the running for it, how can you do that and not be a Pro Bowler? Robert, greetings, and let's go Lions. Salutations. I'm down with that, my friend. Good to see you as always. Hardy, does anyone know who the 2 notable defensive are who are injured? That would be Jack Campbell and Amik Robertson. France, Coach, it may be too late for me to stay up, but are you doing a show for the big game? Yes, I'll do a live cast for it for sure. Voltron Force. Excuse me, Jack Campbell and Meek Robinson, correct? Chatbots, Lions seem to get more than their share of injuries, or am I imagining things? No, this year, unlike last year, we were basically injury free. This year, it's quite the opposite. So I guess just the law of averages. Number, if it's not a broken arm, leg, etc., none of these injuries hold anyone out. Game too important, no worries at all. Yeah, and again, I would think Jack Campbell will be fine, bruised ribs, unless it's really impacting his ability to breathe. I'm guessing he's okay. I mean, you can flak jacket him up, put extra padding around it. Amik would be more and I'm not saying he is hurt or this needs to be a worried or whatever, but if it's that calf and that calf is really bothering him or impacting his ability to cover, then that was probably where a bigger concern to me. Pat, I like Glass, but I think CM Christian Mahogany is the future. Maybe better even now. Could be indeed. Hardy, no Jack, no win. I am positive with all the injuries, but losing Campbell and another cornerback might be too much. Hey, wait and see, my friend. Wait and see. Lions Talk Live fan, what is up with Emmanuel Mosley? That might be the question of the day. I don't know if they're just trying to ease him back into things. I don't really know. I thought we would see him on the field more by now. But the other part of that is he's been out sometime. I mean, a couple seasons, to be honest. We'll have to wait and see if he gets an opportunity. Papa Noel, best of mornings to the crew. Same to you, Hardy. Okay, thanks. I have not seen or heard of them being out for Sunday from any other media sources as of yet. No, yeah, and again, Hardy, nobody's saying they are out. So I want to be clear about that. They were out of practice yesterday, so nobody's ruling them out of the game. Tyler, if Kirby don't make the Pro Bowl, then I say get rid of the players and coaches voting because it's gotten too political. Man, the politics have been there as long as I can remember, so it's unfortunate. Lauren, yeah, let's just not have the interception leader in the Pro Bowl. I'm with you there, man. It wouldn't make any sense. Buddy, morning, Duke Crew. Good to see you, buddy. I know this is not your favorite time of day. All right, Nick Wright said that Ben Johnson stole his plays from the Chiefs playbook. I think he should go work for SNL. Nick Wright's, in my opinion, Nick Wright's out there trying to push emotional buttons to get more views or whatever. It's how he's wired, sort of like Carlos Moneros with Detroit News. Flad, ML football coach power rankings: 1 O'Connell, 2 Harbaugh, 3 Reed, McVay 4, LaFleur 5, McDermott 6, Campbell 7, Peyton 8, 9 John Harbaugh 10, Tomlin. That's crazy having Dan as third in the best in the division. It's an opinion piece, and probably again put out there to try to build up some emotional response from people. Patrick, greetings and salutations, Coach Ducru. No reason to get concerned yet. One, I believe, was due to illness, which should pass fairly quickly, and the other is minor, I believe. Okay, Nick who? Exactly, Tyler. Buddy, Nick right, more like Nick wrong. I'll take all that. You're correct. Andy Moore, good morning, Coach Dan of the Ducru. What a team. What a podcast. What a great time to be a Lions fan. Exclamation point. Go Lions. And good to see you as always, my friend. Happy morning to you. Art, I met Nick Wright and Tyler. I guess I need more due. Never hurts to have more due. Man Bear, good morning, Daniel Rue and Scooby-Doo Crew. Same to you. Lions Talk Live fan. It will take winning the Super Bowl to silence the Detroit Lions haters. Mounts, yeah, probably. And even then, they'll find something to complain about. Donnie Brasco, hey, love that movie, man. Coach Dan equals clickbait headlines once again. None of these players. Hey, it's Broski Bear. Good to see you again, my friend. Good to see you as always. Let's see. Joe, morning, Coach. Woo! And thanks for what you do. Hey, anytime, my friend. Anytime. Rob, Motown, Showdown in Motown, about to go down. Brought to you by Coach Dan, the man, and with the plan. Thank you for that. And yeah, I think it's been a great game. Okay, Coach Dan, suit up for the team. You don't want that, man. You don't want that in any way, shape, or form. I'd get broken, and yeah, they might have to call it the cart. Buddy, Donnie Brasco, make sure you hit the like button. Yeah, it's Broski Bear, in case you guys were wondering. Alrighty, Coach Dan, you had me worried with your thumbnail about injuries. Good God, old newspaper. Yeah, headlines. Yep. Yeah, hey, old newspaper reporter. So take that into consideration. David, does anyone have issue with Za'Darius' production? I think he's doing what he was expected to do, but he's started to think about next year. He has 3 sacks and many pressures. Well, I think next year when you put him out there with Aiden Hutchinson, McNeil, etc., it will take some pressure away from him. I think he's an upgrade over Davenport. Whether or not he's like all pro or anything like that, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Mike K. Ivy equals Hutchinson. Okay. Marcus Lions 30, Vikings 27. However, we will see them 2 weeks later in a playoff rematch. You might not be wrong. The nice part is, and I'm trying to do the math in my head, so don't hold me to it, but I'm anticipating when the Lions win Sunday, you're probably going to see the Minnesota Vikings in rematch in the NFC title game. So winner gets to the Super Bowl, and yes, I think whoever wins that game does win the Super Bowl. Trim Reaper, good morning, Coach and Duke crew. Lions beat the Vikings 21-20. Woo! Oh, yeah, I'll take that. The Central Scrutinizer, good morning, Pride, LGLs. It takes more grit. I'll take that. I understand grit. Alrighty. Nope, Z has some great pressures, especially last game. If the linebacker and quarterback contain, he will start getting more sacks. Could be. Boat Lions 38-35. Okay. Rob Ramble on like Led Zeppelin. Boy, I can't talk today. Alrighty, if Ali McNeil was healthy, Zarius would have 3 to 5 more sacks. That could be true, 100%. Ezra Gray, good morning, Coach Dan and the Duke crew. Lions about to put that L on the Crybabies Vikings. I think you are correct, and I will give score predictions. We'll have a guest appearance from Dan O'Damas more than likely tomorrow, and yes, you'll get the official score prediction tomorrow. Francisco, what do you got? Ben Johnson stays one more season? Could be true. Marcus, Dan, any Calais Campbell news? As far as I know, he hasn't been released. So, at this point, even if he was to be released today, I doubt the Lions would bring him in at this point. Maybe they do. I just think at this point, it'd be too hard to really get him into the playbook for this week, other than some limited snap stuff. Maybe for the playoffs, though. Centralizer, Pete Carroll wants the Bears head coaching job. Yeah, I get Pete's. He's a coach. He wants to coach again. Whether or not he gets an opportunity in the NFL, I highly doubt, but I've been wrong before. Vernon, good morning, Coach and Duke crew. Coach, the defense the Vikings used looked like the 46 defense the Bears played in 85. There probably were some similarities to that, especially in the third quarter. I think you're spot on with that. Great eye with that. Art, I was hoping that Glenn and Johnson are smart enough to stay away from the train wreck in Chicago. I'll leave that up to them. The Trim Reaper, is Jennings getting fined or anything for the choking TA? I haven't heard anything about it, but maybe later today we'll get an update. Buddy, Jake Bates wins it this week with a last-second field goal. You could be spot on with that. James, why do you think Ben Johnson would want to be a head coach? Question mark. He's with the best organization in the league, living in a great state, making a great living, doing what he loves. Why would he want to leave? Just my opinion only, based on coaching for all the decades I have. Other than maybe 1 or 2 assistant coaches I've ever met in my life, we all want to be head coaches. We all want to have that opportunity to prove ourselves, etc. And there will be the other part is there will be a significant pay increase, like probably 4 times what he's making now, maybe 5. Kim, any possibility the Lions are going to get one more guy for the defense to help with pass rush? Question mark. Lions or dismal against San Francisco minus Kirby's interceptions. The only thing I would say, Kim, is who would you get? Now, I know Calais Campbell will come up, but I don't see you bringing him in. So who else can you bring in who would make an impact? And Campbell, I think he's great against the run at this point in his career. I don't know if he's great getting to the quarterback. Kurt Steele, what up, Duke crew? What's up, Man of Steel? How you doing? Phil, cover the visitor locker room wall with Jake Hates glamour shot pictures. Maybe they'll do that. Glad to have you here. All eyes on you or something like that. Trim Raver, what up, Mr. Steele? Phil, me Steele, okay. Rob, the Patriots had that run because of Belichick and Brady. Poaching their coaches did nothing for it. No, but the perception was that you could bring them in and kind of steal some of that thunder. ARF, good morning, sports fans. Back at you. Trim Reaper, no, Mr. Steele is Steele. All right, laughing out loud. Rob, what up, Doe Man of Steel? Trim Reaper, Jennings should be in jail for choking hold on TA. Yeah, I'm guessing he'll get fined, but if he hasn't already. But he can't go. I still think a lot of teams this year potentially hurt a lot of our players. Could be. It's football, though, so it makes it tough. It's such a physical sport. Phil, agreed, buddy. Giovanni, woo! Okay. Let's see. Giovanni, I'm still worried about game 2 in the playoffs. Fingers crossed. We'll see what happens. Tom, secondary shines, smarter blitzes, and Lions win 38-24. Man, I think we'd all be happy about that. Eric, good morning. ARF and Phil, back at you. Trim Reaper, smash that like and subscribe buttons. Woo! Thank you for that. Phil, gross pick the Vikings to win. Could be. Grosy, excuse me. Phil, greetings and salutations, Eric. More. I agree, buddy. The refs were right there. That's why they in Italy threw the first flag. Then another for reaction, another blower flag. Yeah, that's the only thing I would say. You got the flag on the 49ers, and then unfortunately, Kirby Joseph shouldn't come up and bump that guy. Otherwise, you probably would have taken away that touchdown. Trimmer missing a couple hundred likes. So, yeah, if you guys can, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. ARF, good morning, Eric. More. And there were way too many late hits that wasn't called. Yeah, I would agree with that a little bit. Let's see, Buddy Kinko, whatever happened this weekend, the Lions will get healthier each week in the playoffs, making them dangerous for any team to play. I agree with that. Justin, Grossi is a Packers fan. Of course, he is picking Minnesota. He would get smoked if he picked Detroit. Okay? Phil, it shows the quality of people being hired by the big network. Trash organization, trash reporters, trash reporting. Yeah, and I was, I won't go on to it, man. Hey, I've made mistakes to report too. It's just the fact nobody's edited that. It's different. Like when I first started out, you put it in print on a newspaper or in a magazine. You can't go in and change that. But with the internet, somebody could go up and update that story. Rob, he's an old-time sports writer. He wrote the article at the bar. Might be true. I can't say that I probably wrote a few there. Let's see, Vernon, Coach, I was listening to a broadcast, and they said the 49ers had a bounty on some of our guys. He used the 4 examples. Our rookie Terrion Aldo, they got real physical with him. I mean, I can only say maybe in time it comes out. I just watching the game, I thought it was a physical game. I'm sure they did play with the chip on their shoulder, wanting an opportunity to beat the number 1 team in the NFC and all that stuff. I didn't see anybody intentionally trying to hurt somebody. But I could be totally wrong. Mike K, red flag, Vilder, there you go. Buddy, the Vikings better leave Kirby Joseph alone this weekend because of Hawkinson. Yeah, and I'm sure that will be a factor for sure. Courtney, Amik, and Cap Jack will grit it out. I think you're right with that. Play with injuries, then rest. Might be true. Buddy Kinko, the Vikings know they will see us again in the playoffs. Yeah, both teams probably understand that's a realistic opportunity of that. Trim Reaper, put me in cold. I'm ready to play. I'll put you in cold then. Central Scrutinizer. After rewatching the Niners game, San Francisco was definitely trying to cut heads, excuse me. I hope the NFL reviews the tape and reacts accordingly. Players hard shouldn't be penalized, however. Playing hard shouldn't be penalized. Yeah, all games, just so you guys know, the NFLPA does review them, especially if there's allegations like this. There's a committee that does dive into it. So wait and see what happens. But it can't go, where's Mosley? So far, only special teams. Play mostly at corner. There's got to be a reason why they haven't yet. And who knows what that reason may be. Rob, I can add an extra like and subscribe for Coach Dan the Man. Woo! Thanks for that, Rob. Thank you very much. Lauren, Anzalone will probably get 30 to 50% of the snaps. I think that sounds about right. I would trust Dan's decision. Me too, Jessica. I think Dan Campbell at this point, he deserves all of our trust. Courtney, who's hurt? Hurt and Meek Robinson, Jack Campbell, they both sat out yesterday. But again, just reiterate, I think that's for veterans rest. Buddy, will Anzalone have a club on his arm? My guess is they will have some sort of protective gear on it, but it's got to be can't be metal, so it's got to be like a hard plastic or wrap up job. Justin, the Central, I've been up watching that game this morning, and they definitely had some dirty plays. I like Kittle until Monday night. Skip George Kittle. Okay, buddy, George Kittle to me is our really cocky player. Might be indeed. Joe C. Amik is a soldier. He will play. Exclamation point. What's up, Coach Dan and Duke Crew? What's up with you, my friend? Been working a lot of hours. Hopefully they cut me down some. Would like to hang out. Go Lions. Woo! Have a great day, everyone. Same to you, my friend. Hopefully it's a phenomenal day. Motown Mitch, when are we going to see Hutch hit that 21-day window? My guess is it's probably within the next week. Whether it's this week or some part next week. Because if the goal really is to have him in the Super Bowl or the NFC title game, you think about mathematically how that lines up with the 21-day window. Centralizer, Kittle definitely was trying to end Brian Branch. Vernon, coach, do you think AG will blitz more to help the secondary? I think he blitzes quite a bit. Now, he blitzed more in the second half last week. My personal opinion to all of you guys is that you've got to put pressure on Darnold or you got no chance. You cannot just let him sit back and pick you apart. Rob, the refs had a loose standard all game. They did indeed for the 49ers game. Yes, maybe I saw a video about how bad luck being a 15-team win. I'm almost wanting them to lose because of that. I'll go with that. Lauren Bosa ball up on today? I believe so. Courtney, can players in NFL play with a cast on arms? Like Ray Nitschke, Dick Butkus, Jack Youngblood. Yes, they're just, you can't have hard metals or I think there's a couple other rules, regulations regarding it. But yes, the short answer. Rob, Matt B, I saw it too. I don't consider YouTubers experts, even if pundits on the networks are wrong a lot. There you go. Centralizer, was AG setting up the Vikings last game? I think he was. Yeah, I think him and Ben Johnson were doing some things intentionally. Mike 505, good morning, coach and crew. Woo! Hit that like button. Thank you for that. Yeah, hit the like and subscribe buttons. William D, ABV, anybody but Villar. There you go. See, Jason, they have to treat this like a playoff game. Agreed. A win is like a gas on the fire. A loss punches in against the ropes. Jake Bates finishes them with a 37-35 Superdome or bust. I'll go with that. Buddy, love the Lions. Still mute TV and put on Dan Miller. Hey, nothing wrong with that, man. Miller's a good guy. Aaron King, do you know if the league is looking at targeting by the 49ers in the first half? I'm sure they, like all games, they're going to review it. So, yeah, they will. Chucky, good morning, Coach Aduko. Happy New Year. Same to you, Chuck E. Cheese. Always good to see you. Centralizer playoff game on Sunday. Like the only difference, the loser stays in the hunt. Yeah, you're spot on with that. It's the only difference. Player Frank, can you imagine the Lions win the Super Bowl with a Vildor interception? Good for him, man. Good for him if that happens. James, long scoring drives, always a good bet. Yeah, I concur. Rob, greetings, salutations. Hope Anzalone is back. We need him desperately. Yeah, I think, if nothing else, to get him ready for the playoffs. Rob, Frank, that would be cool. Like Todd Jones saving a Game 7 in the World Series. Okay. Phil says he has an illness. Mosley, that is. Yeah, I did see Mosley was out too, but he hasn't really done much, so I didn't list him on the thumbnail. Dennis, good morning, Dan and Dooku. Same to you. Vern, let's go Lions, 42-35. I'll take that. It's a win. John, Mosley wasn't at practice either. Illness. Yeah, and again, sorry, I probably should have put him in there, but just with the illness, I left him out, just because he hasn't really done a ton so much. All right. 31, Happy New Year, Duke Crew, exclamation point. Woo! First time commenting because been watching since the beginning of the season. Hey, well, thank you for joining the Duke Crew. Glad to have you here, and thanks for being a part of it. Miles Barker, 31, Happy New Year, and welcome to the chat. Grit, 100%. 89, Dr. Funk. Campbell was hitting on the 49ers game. He was, man. He was smacking some people. I'm not surprised he's hurt after the hit Debo out of the backfield. That collision was violent. It was, man, 100%. You're spot on with that. Miles Barker. Lauren, looking forward to the third video, bro. Panther Pride, I'll go with that. Paul, Zeke Elliott for a goal line. Maybe true. One God, are the Vikings on Dan's revenge list? They should be. ARF, laughing out loud, Phil. Sexy Bates wallpaper. Yeah. That would be something to walk into the locker room and have that all over the place. But Revenge Tour was completed on Monday Night Football. Hey, let's have a new tour or add on to the tour. Extra seating. John, morning, Dan, and the world famous Duke Crew. Morning, John. Hopefully it's a great day for you. Greg, are you worried about the Vikings? Good morning, coach. Hey, yeah, to me as a coach, you worry about everybody you face. There's no team I've ever said, man, we're just going to not pay attention to them. It's just me, and I've got to imagine Dan Campbell, Aaron Glenn, the whole gang up there in Detroit. They can't be any different, I would think. Let's see. Patrick, I really like the fact that Kirby came in like he was shot out of a cannon and sent the 49ers next week on defense of his teammate. Yeah, he came in to defend. That's the one thing. Well, I don't want him to do it this game or the playoffs. Once you see that flag thrown, and you can probably rest assured it was on the 49ers, back off. Great quote. Live on it. I know I've said it before on the show. When your enemies are making mistakes, don't interrupt them. That's from Napoleon Bonaparte, and I agree with it fully. Dominic, good morning from Texas. Same to you. Always good to have you on the show. Hardy saw on Pride of Detroit that Campbell and Robinson, quote, additional rest this week, but nothing to panic over at this time. That's good stuff. Thank you for that. Thank you very much for that. Let's see, Chris, Detroit for the win. We are PCB. I'll take that. Paul, Rob Parker is a pathetic joke. Hey, man, he's made a long career being that guy. Let's see. The Trim Reaper. Gracie had a diddler stash. Can't stand him. Okay. Dan got here late. What did I miss? So to be fair, you had 3 Lions defenders miss practice yesterday. Manuel Mosley out with illness. I didn't put him in the thumbnail. Sorry about that. Again, he hasn't contributed much yet this year, so I just kind of moved on from it, especially since it was illness. Meek Robinson out with a calf strain, and Jack Campbell ribs. So sore ribs, I should say. Rob, Hockey Logic, KJ knocked him on his butt because 15 yards is not really a penalty when the 49ers have nothing to lose. Okay, I'll go with that. Miles Marker, Trim Reaper, that's ugly. BS to type. I admire Grossi. He's a good guy. Okay. Hardy, Lions 41-34, late a touchdown by Minnesota. Detroit recovers the onside kick with less than 2 minutes to go. I'll take that, man. Anything that's a win, I'll take. Hardy, Vikings YouTuber media reporting comments by Terry Arnold as trash talk. All right. Hey, do what you got to do to motivate yourself. Phil, Hutch isn't running without water and is still limping on that leg. He is a ways out to be ready. Okay. Let's see. Hardy, yes, Phil, at least 2 to 3 weeks. Okay. Buddy Kinko, great show as usual, Coach. Glad to have you guys here. Always love having you guys part of the show. Paul, Lions 38, Vikings 21. I'll take that 1,000% of the time. The poor conservative antique kitchen for the omelet today. Have a great day. Yeah, go enjoy it, man. It sounds like a good way to start your morning. Robert, hit that like and subscribe buttons. Woo! Exclamation point. Don Tarrant Arnold talks too much, to be honest. Kid needs to just have a good game, whole game before once. Okay. Bo, happy trails, Duke crew. All done and dusted for another day. See you at Dan O'Donnell's prediction tomorrow. We'll see you then, my friend, as always. Hardy, TA is learning from Branch, Kirby, Davis, etc. Might be true, especially at cornerbacks. You'll find that typically those are some of the most confident guys on the team. And because you have to be to play that position, you're going to get beat the vast majority of the time. The receiver, and all the rules favor the offense. We get that part. So when a play goes against you, you got to move on to the next play. You can't live in the past. And I think that has an accumulative effect on their personalities. Patrick, I agree, Coach, but sometimes you have to send a major message to all the teams in the NFL that we won't stand. Yeah, I get you. And you'll protect your teammates. Yeah, I agree during the regular season. Now that it's basically postseason, I'd move on from that. Just, again, let them beat themselves. Paul, our guys sure back each other up. Yeah, you would hope for all teammates to do that. Go Lions. Love the show, Coach Dan, and Happy New Year, sir. Back at you, Paul. Let's see, Rob, Napoleon, Bonaparte. Yeah, indeed. Let's see, Hardy. Revenge this game is losing in all the blacks to the Bills. Are they all blacks or blue jerseys against the Vikings? I believe, while I don't think anything official has been determined, they're going to be the black and blues. And that's what upset, I guess, the Minnesota Vikings. It's not so much the uniform choice, and maybe I should clarify that. I don't think the Vikings are up in arms about the uniform choices, Lions. It's a word that the Lions are setting up the backdrops to be all black to try to blend in. Again, that's conspiracy theorist stuff. I'm not putting the tinfoil on my hat or head. Let me tell you, every team at every level looks for advantages. I don't care what level it is, it happens. I know I used the analogy yesterday from one of my basketball coaches when I was growing up. If we played a team that was home, you wear white, they wear white jerseys. So you take athletic tape, put it all over your wrist. So if you do grab somebody or hold somebody, it's just harder for the officials to see. I've never taught that, but I can tell you it is taught. I can tell you in the NFL or football, stuff like that goes on. So everybody's always looking for something. It doesn't even matter if it actually has an effect. It's the fact you believe it has an effect. It gives you that motivation. So the nice part is for the Lions, if the Minnesota Vikings really feel like they're being affected by this, then they are going to be affected by it. They're going to come into the game with a built-in excuse, and as soon as a play doesn't come their way, they're going to say, man, you see, we're being cheated. And you know what? Now their effort levels gets chipped down. Let's see, the centralizer, Donald, isn't as accurate passing as Goff. No, Goff's really come a long way in that regard. I think the secondary will get some good chances to pick that rock. I think you're right with that. Largo 487, Lions 42, Vikings 14. Jared Goff. I like the way you're thinking. Kurt Steele, Boss Up, Ball Out will be back tomorrow live and recorded show Saturday morning. Okay. Jerry Fred Warner tried to hit Laporta in the back of the head while he was falling backwards. The lead of his helmet and just missed. I want it investigated. Yeah, I'm sure the NFL will look into it 100%. Lions have been playing like the all Blacks. Okay. Let's see. Justin, free $10 on MGM because Pistons won. Hey, congrats to you, my friend. Patrick, black and blue also matches our division. Oh, good point there, because we are the black and blue division. Great call there. Trummer Grossi is a human being and Browns fanboy in denial. You're welcome to your own opinion. Okay. Thanks for reading all of our comments. Hey, that's what I do, man. No problem, buddy. Jeremiah Jones, I think we're on the Vikings revenge list. This game I'm more nervous about than any other this year. Hey, it should be, man. It's going to be a big game. Big game. Trummer, trash human being. Okay. Rob, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. The 1980s Baltimore Orioles rewrote the rules book. There you go. There you go. Robert, Vikings will choke like usual. Go Lions and crew. Back at you, Robert. All right, guys. If there's breaking news later today, I'll get it over to you as quick as possible. If you would be so kind before you take off today, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Be a good human being. Do something nice for someone you don't know. Hey, just be a good human being all the way around. And take care. Enjoy the rest of the day. We'll see you all in the next Lions Talk Live. See you guys.
Excuse me, sir, would you... Donations to Reverend Moon? Jews for Jesus? Read about Jehovah's Witness? How about Buddhism? Of Jerry's kids? Oh, yeah. Scientology? Or nuclear power?